Today is Saturday, March 29th, 2025. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 48, Week 5.
After a very special episode.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. There was the one significant moment, and then there were several more less significant moments. And I think we got takes on it from lots of different perspectives, which is...
Oh, I love that.
This is the best part of having a listener feedback show, so you get to hear from other fans and see how they perceived it and what it meant to them, different takes on the significance, different aspects of what happened in the episode. Something we enjoy every week, but certainly looking forward to seeing with this episode how people registered it and how they think everything that we got in this jam-packed episode is going to affect things going forward as we head into the Mergatory.
I do love all the different perspectives to ponder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I've said it many times, but it's helped me see things in so many different ways. I think I've grown from and benefited from getting to hear different takes on things like we get in the listener feedback show. Good stuff. Anything else we need to cover before we dive in? How many?
24.
24 super fans showed up to talk about this last episode. Good to go?
Well, I'm ready.
Let's kick it off with Pete.
Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh my. This season after that rough premiere is just getting better and better, guys. So I'm going to let out a great big and man, what an emotional, crazy episode for sure. You had Say being Say, going at it with Mary at the end of that reward challenge. I think Mary maybe got a little cocky there too, but I don't blame Mary because again, she hadn't won a reward, so she deserved to celebrate. And Say being Say, giving her 2 cents, which obviously wasn't the best move. Clearly, I think she lucked out tonight as well. It looked like Mitch and Christy had something there, but I think what flipped the script was Bianca at the last moment telling Cedric she didn't have a vote. And when they showed who voted for who at the end, I know Cedric voted for Bianca. It looked like Christy did as well. And then Mitch voted for Say, and then Say voted Christy because Bianca had no vote. I gotta check out Bianca's exit interviews. She has to regret telling Cedric, because even Say said Cedric knows wherever the numbers lie. So, yeah, I felt sorry for Bianca, though. I like her ally, Thomas. I think she offered a lot socially. I would have loved to have seen her now with this merge swap, whatever they call it, coming up next episode. Her joining forces with some of the strong women and to see how far she's gone. It's luck of the draw and Survivor. But I gotta really talk about Eva. Hearing her story, the struggle she went through with autism. Because remember, only Joe knew about it, but telling every single person after that immunity challenge and Probst was unbelievable and amazing. One of the best stories that I've heard. I was actually emotional too hearing about it, putting the game aside, and to get Probst in tears, that's saying something that he's not immortal for sure. I loved it though. Good for Eva, and I love Waggy there, how he helps Star, well they all help Star figure out that beware advantage, and kudos to Star for giving Eva the idol there. I didn't see that coming at all, so we'll see. Now honestly, I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm a little worried for Charity. I think she's rubbed people the wrong way now. David don't like her. Eva didn't like her when they showed her the rewards, so I wouldn't be surprised how she goes. But I'm somewhat disappointed with her, but we'll seat. Loved Eva's story, and I felt sorry for Bianca. I think that was a mistake telling Cedric, but then again, what did she have, though? It was a no vote, and she couldn't be the swing vote to decide which group to go with. So it is what it is, guys. Looking forward to next episode, guys. This is an awesome episode, though. Take care. Ooh.
Whoa. All right. Pete's got one checkbox there in the awesome column for this episode. Bianca, in her exit interview, said she watched Cedric like a hawk because it was only minutes before going to tribal council that she dropped that information on him. And she said he didn't go talk to Chrissy. She doesn't understand how the vote went down the way it did, but they weren't discussing, they weren't making plans. There was no exchange of information that she observed. So it probably happened in tribal council, or it was preordained, something they had worked out ahead. Obviously, information was withheld from us to make it a little more exciting. But
True, maybe they'll show us at the beginning of next week, though, when they get back, and they're explaining it to say.
possibly, if she's willing to listen, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I imagine she wants to know why they voted the way.
Why she was left out, not why they voted the way they did, why she was left out. Why Cedric did that to her.
And who voted for me?
Chrissy already got her dig in, so yeah, I imagine Say's going to be pretty wound up by the time they get back to camp.
Yep. Me too. Not sure I would want to be there if I were Cedric.
Gonna face the music again. Thanks, Pete. Next up, got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. I thought that this was another great episode this season, and I really enjoyed the challenges. Do you ever watch a challenge on Survivor and think to yourself, this is my challenge, this one is made for me? Well, this episode, I think it was the Reward Challenge, where they had to roll the ball and it had to kind of get over the hump and stick in the hole. That is exactly my challenge. I remember at one of the fall fairs last year, they had this game where you have to roll the bowling ball and it goes on the metal rails and you have to get it to stay just over the hump and then stay in the valley that's in there, and then you can win the prize. Well, anyway, I found that game really easy. I ended up winning 3 prizes in a row for both my kids and another of their friends, and I think the guy running the game was kind of giving me a side eye, so I was done after that, but I have a really good finesse for gauging the distance when rolling a ball, so I think that would have been the Survivor challenge for me. Obviously, the moment this week with Eva and Joe was a really special moment, and I think it was really important to see something like that on TV. Someone strong as Eva, how vulnerable she was, and just seeing how Joe reacted in their moment. I think it was a really important thing to raise awareness for people that have autism. It's so common these days, and it was really cool to see it represented that way. Although I was sort of rooting against Eva, hoping that she was going to lose because I had her tribe going to tribal council. So I was kind of conflicted at the time because I wanted her to persevere and get through it and win, but I also kind of wanted her to lose because I wanted Charity to go home so I could get a vote-off point. Yes. It was another interesting tribal council this week. You got to admit that with smaller tribes, it doesn't take much to shift the momentum and change the vote. And this week when Bianca decided to spill her beans to Cedric, it basically just sealed her fate. And it would have been interesting to see the scene that must have happened where Cedric went and talked to Chrissy, but it was kind of nicer to be surprised with the vote. I was debating whether or not this was a good move for Cedric. I think getting rid of Sai would have been a good move, but I think maybe it makes more sense to get rid of Bianca because Sai's going to be a player that's going to stick out like a sore thumb come the merge, whereas Bianca is very likable and she's going to be a game player, so why not get rid of somebody who's sort of a threat, keep Sai around because you know she's not going to win the game, she's going to really annoy people and likely be targeted. In fact, I think I might have Sai again as my vote off next week, even though I think she's been my vote off probably 5 times at this point, but anyway, that's all my feedback for this week, and I hope everyone enjoyed the episode. You guys just take care.
Thanks, Robert.
I was thinking about that too, that maybe she could really go now. Just keep hoping that she'll go.
Oh, say?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's onto something. I think she's her goat level has been consistently rising, and in this past episode, she did a lot to increase it by deciding to try to put Mary in her place after Mary was over-celebrating, a little too joyous for Say's taste.
I don't know. I think she's going to, if they're going to merge, then I think she's going to rub even more people the wrong way. But she might dial it back. She kind of seemed to dial it back with the new tribe for at least a little bit, but I don't know. I still think she'll rub people the wrong way because of her abruptness.
Yeah, she can't help herself. Like she said, she has no filter. Chooses not to leverage that particular social interactive control.
Yeah, she's choosing because she is aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
If she wasn't aware of it, it would be one thing, but she is aware of it. She just doesn't control it.
Thanks again, Robert. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Oahu, and I'm not crying. You're crying. What a beautiful moment that was with Eva and Joe. I mean, I got teary. I knew something like that was going to happen because of the promos. It still got me. It totally got me how unraveled she got and watching Joe being all teary, wanting to comfort her, and then going over and comforting her. That was a beautiful moment. I felt like this entire episode of Survivor, a lot of the players put the game aside and really bonded. Vula, too. I had said in my feedback last week, I did not want any of them to be voted out. Not Joe, not Shahin, not Camilla, not Kyle. I loved them all so much as individuals and as a group, and I'm so happy they have bonded together to want to be a Final Four, and I hope they bring Eva in too. I hope they run this game. I think they are all wonderful, and of course, I'd like to see my USB go far, Shahin. I very much liked Loggy too. After the immunity challenge, how they all helped Star. It was kind of mean how everybody was against Star and not helping her figure out her advantage. Ava's really adorable. It would be so cool if she won. Ava finally figures it out, and then Star was, now that idol is yours. That was a beautiful moment. Who does that on Survivor? Just gives the idol to somebody that they were at odds with? I found it all beautiful. Now, Siva. Oh, Siva. Going into the episode for JSFL, I had chosen Siva to go out. I had chosen Bianca as my vote out because I figured she's the odd man out on the team, but she doesn't have a vote, so she can't work with anybody. And then to spread out my save points, I had 0 on both Cedric and Sai, so I went super bold like Stacy does, and I put a save point on Cedric and Sai and a vote out on Bianca. So I had very little wiggle room to get it wrong. And then when they lost the challenge, I was like, all right, this is going to be interesting. And I saw Sai's name was being tossed out there. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But to see Bianca kind of crumble in the 11th hour and confess to Cedric that she had no vote, there was a part of me that went, okay, cool. I never would have said anything. I think on Survivor, it's better to apologize afterwards than ask for permission beforehand. She dug her own hole. She got voted out. She was so upset, and her being upset did not deflate how happy I was for getting my first vote off point. Bye, Bianca. I hope we see you again. All in all, this was a really great episode, and I'm really excited for the merge or the Mergatory. It's going to be 2 teams. So there's 13 players left. They're going to have 2 teams of 6. One person is going to sit out. It's going to be really hard to choose who might be the next vote out. But I think now we're going to be in the individual. I think Sai really has to watch her P's and Q's because she's rubbing people the wrong way. And I could see her being the vote out. I don't see anybody else who's completely rubbed people the wrong way, the way Sai has. So if she's on the losing team, she could totally be on the chopping block. But who knows what will happen the way they do the merge. Thank you so much for all that you do. What an emotional episode. I absolutely loved it. And everybody have a beautiful weekend.
Thanks, Rebecca. It'll be interesting to see if she adapts at all. It doesn't seem likely. Another thing Bianca said in her interviews was that they didn't show a lot of the discussion she had with Cedric because she invested some pretty significant time there. Just like they didn't show her scrambling and looking all the time she spent looking for an idol there, expecting one to be there because she didn't find it. But so they didn't show any of that. But she said she felt like she was making some really good progress with Cedric. And one of the things that Cedric had shared with her was that Justin didn't tell him that he had lost his vote. And so that factored into how, the calculus that Bianca was running, trying to decide what to do, what not to do. And so she went last minute and told him, hoping that she would be able to skate through this one.
So the message is, you can't trust Cedric either way.
No, he'll get you.
He's going to vote you off whether you tell or you don't tell.
Yes.
So if he wants you out, you're gone, I guess.
I think the bigger lesson is get rid of Cedric. You don't need that. That is not an alliance partner you want to be working with.
Well, I feel like
What a mastermind.
I feel like they're hiding some of Cedric's stuff
Maybe.
right now.
Yes, I'm going to go with that. Let's go with Cedric the mastermind. There is an alternative version, which is Cedric the clueless doofus, but the mastermind's more fun to think about, I think, at this point. That he's just got him spinning every which way.
Verdict's not in.
Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got an email from Tara in New York. Hi, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor friends. We had another great episode this week. It feels like the editors are really finding their groove in the last few seasons. In the past, players' emotional backstories could sometimes feel forced. More and more, though, we're getting to know these stories naturally, and it's made a big difference. Eva's scene after the immunity challenge had me bawling, and I'm sure I wasn't alone. By the way, Stacy, I've never heard of buttermilk pie, but I enjoyed your story and will be hunting down a recipe ASAP. I'll send you my mom's recipe if you want. We will have to wait and see how much Joe and Eva's games are affected by outing their close alliance to everyone, though. That right there. Tara is on it like a laser beam. Even though it was brief, the night scene between Joe and Kyle in the beginning of the episode immediately stuck out to me. It was ironic that Joe was scolding Kyle for not being genuine when Joe literally wrote down Kyle's name to send him home. Joe seems like an amazing guy, but I think we're getting hints that his old school game could be his downfall. Yeah, I think there was I came across something else about that too, where Joe he wasn't as much kumbaya with him even after that big moment, I think, that they shared after the reward. That said, was that in an extra scene? I can't remember where I came across that. That said, everything seemed to shift after the reward, and the new undercover alliance forming at Vula sounds amazing. All of their family war stories extremely powerful. I'm just reading that wrong, huh?
All their family stories
were extremely, I was just switching that word, were extremely powerful, and I'm glad Survivor highlighted them. It would be fun to watch these four secretly run the game like Camilla predicted. The back and forth between Mary and Say after the reward challenge caught my eye too. They are both fascinating, and I can't wait to see what happens between them after the merge if they both survive. I hope they're just trying to look like enemies but secretly end up working together. Speaking of crazy pairs, I never saw a Star and Eva duo coming. I love the idea of Eva going out of her comfort zone to work with a woman. Also, I'm not sure if she realized it at the time, but Star took a huge target off her back by giving Eva the idol. Now, it's a different way to look at it, isn't it? It's likely she has gained at least one ally in Eva, and the rest of Old Loggy may see her in a new light, too.
Well, it has brought her nothing but pain so far, so...
Finally, I'm absolutely baffled that Cedric somehow managed to be in the power position once again. He makes me pull my hair out. The irony of Cedric voting out Bianca after she told him about her lost vote is hilarious. Justin must have felt vindicated watching that go down. He actually tweeted out something about that right afterwards. I really wanted to see Thomas and Bianca play together, so I hope they at least had a blast at Ponderosa. You know what I think the biggest thing that we missed out on, speaking of Thomas, is Thomas and Bianca talking about the Eva and Joe moment. I would have loved for Thomas to have still been in the game so they could have heard their take on it, and Thomas and Shahin, because Thomas and Shahin had already been targeting Eva and Joe, and they were very concerned about them. So now we're not going to get any of that unless Shahin can find someone to discuss it with. He's probably going to be wary now, going to feel even more alone. With the Mergatory coming next week, I think we'll be in for a roller coaster ride of chaos, and I can't wait. I had the same idea as Stacy this week and picked Charity for my vote out. Maybe we were just a week early because it appears she's still in trouble. Also, I think there are too many side groups forming for the Meat Shield Alliance to work. I'm guessing it will flame out as fast as Q's Alliance of Six a couple of seasons ago. Nice reference. Depending on how the tribe split, though, anything could happen, so I'm really looking forward to the feedback show this week. Finally, Joanne, I have thought of you and your niece several times in the past few days, and my heart goes out to you. I'm praying for Jennifer and your family. Thank you both for all you do as always. Thanks, Tara.
Thank you very much for that, Tara.
Next up, we've got a call from Sandy.
Hello, this is Sandy from Atlanta. Boy, do I have a lot to say. First off, the Eva and Joe thing, love it. I think she found the right person. She told him what to do. He did it. And boy, that's a pair they're going to have to split up. Isn't Mary lucky because Cedric is such a poor excuse for a player? I thought he was doing good, but he's playing all social, I think, and not strategic. See ya, yeah, or say, maybe I'm Freudian slip here. See ya, say. I don't know what everybody's problem with Charity is, so I would rather see Star gone, but wow, did she redeem herself? Yeah, I think so. I don't know who's going to go next. I don't know who's on the bottom. I think Mary and Cedric should get together and get rid of Sia, but I just don't see it. I loved Thomas. I thought he was just so great at narrating the game. Kyle and Camilla, good for them. Oh my gosh, I love the way they're thinking. But that should shake up Joe and Shahin. I'm enjoying it. David is an anomaly. He's something else. But interesting that Cedric and Chrissy voted for Bianca, and poor girl. Oh, I feel so bad for her. She didn't know what was coming, or she tried. She really tried every way in the world, but she was between a rock and a hard place. So, all right, guys, I don't know if I'll be able to give any more feedback. Y'all have a wonderful day, or have a happy day. Bye.
Happy day to you too, Sandy. Great to hear from you again.
That's what I was about to say.
Next up, we got a call from Sammy.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor friends. This is Sammy from the Midwest calling in with feedback for episode 5. Has anybody else noticed the way that Chrissy has been coming into every challenge, cooing to Jeff? Good morning, Jeff. It's a little song. I love that, and I think it is very haunting. It's almost like a war cry, and I know that Chrissy has been online saying, "Where is my screen time, CBS?" And this episode, I really felt it extra hard. I wish we had gotten a lot more Chrissy screen time in the first 5 episodes of this season, because I really wanted some context for that vote tonight. I hope that we get some explanation in the next episode, but I almost want to say that Bianca was always going to get voted out, and they played the votes as they did just to account for idols and what have you, and the whole telling Cedric about not having a vote being her downfall was just something they made it seem like was the truth in the editing to make the episode interesting. I don't know. I have to wonder. Something else I have in my mind about this episode is that my USB pick Mitch is doing rather well. He is not making too much of a splash, but he's playing a very strong game, and he has a lot of good social connections and seems to be well liked. And everyone knows that's really how you make it to the end, and it's not always the most visible part of a person's game in the TV show, especially in this early portion of the season, but I think Mitch is doing it, and I'm really excited to see what he has in store. I'm really feeling good about him. Though I could stand for him to lose his ally, Charity. I've had a bad feeling from her since episode 1. I sort of get the sense that she'd be mean to me if I knew her in real life. She reminds me of Corinne from Gabon. I don't like her. I don't like Charity. And I kind of got the sense, not to slander Charity too much, but I kind of got the sense that when Eva was having her whole moment, which I don't even have the time to get into, Charity was sort of scoffing internally, sort of like rolling her eyes internally. I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things I want to see because I have this visceral hatred for Charity, but I don't know. I don't know. Love that Star gave Eva her idol. That was genius. I think Star just bought herself several more votes. I want to see more Star, and Eva has quite a target on her back for many reasons now. Okay, that's my time. Be well.
Be well to you too, Sammy. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to go back. I haven't gone back and watched the whole episode, but I have gone back and looked at a few clips, and I'm trying to watch Charity and see if there's some micro indications on her face. So, like he said, that internal scoffing. So I'm looking for some evidence of that, because I think when Eva was talking and she was solving the Beware Advantage cryptics, they were all together there at the shelter, and I was watching, and I thought, I think I might be seeing a little bit of what they're saying about her. I think the other thing is that Charity's just got a little bit of a severe look in general. It's not resting face or anything like that, but with the hair pulled back, she's kind of got some Nurse Ratched energy.
Her photo, that's kind of a harsh photo of her, I think. That's her press photo.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think she necessarily comes across quite as starkly in, when they show pictures of her, but she does have a hint of that. And maybe part of it is just, having the hair pulled back in a severe...
Do you see it? There is some Nurse Ratched energy there, isn't there?
Yes, I see it right up there on the roster. I do see it.
That's interesting that you were talking about it, too. In the headshot on the roster, her picture is different from everyone else's. She has a solid dark background behind her, and everyone else's looks more natural, like there's sky or a little bit of the horizon in their picture.
That's true. Hers is not.
Yeah, it's not.
Unless it's almost getting dark or something, but it's more of a solid blue instead of like a faded sky or something behind them.
Yeah.
Now, at least for the ones on that tribe. Yeah, it's different. Though Mitch's is a little different.
But that looks like vegetation in the background for him.
Yes, as with
to me, now I've got the color vision issues.
Yeah.
Hers looks more like a solid dark background.
Yeah, it's definitely... nobody else
and
has
there's
that
some
particular background.
Bright light coming from her left side, on her left, that's making her shiny on one side and not so much on the other. She's not like in shadow or anything. Well, look, there's a really bright reflection off the side of her forehead and her cheek, up around her eye and all that. I don't know. We're going too far on that. It's fascinating to think about, but I am going to go back and watch the whole episode, and I'm just going to try to focus on Charity's face and see if I can see some of these little micro aggression, micro reactions. She I don't know what it was, a tweet or Instagram message, or she sent something to Eva this week and said, I got you, even though you think I don't. It was when she was hugging her, was hugging Eva, and it was basically saying, look, I know you think these things about me, but I really got you, and I'm here for you.
Well, the thing is for me, Charity, I don't see her a lot.
Yeah, they're not giving her a lot of time.
She's kind of in the background and fades away. She's not front and center in a lot of clips, or she's just not always there for me.
She got some focus in the previous episode with the shuffle, and when she was talking about serving up whoever was, who did she target?
I don't remember.
Anyway, when she was doing that, only to have David undermine her. She was talking about having David on a leash. That's what it was. And he's just a puppy.
Gone.
And he and also he representing the rest of the tribe said that she was their number one first target. So she doesn't come across positively in that exchange.
Okay. Or maybe in the other tribe as well.
Okay. That was a long tangent. Thank you, Sammy, for putting us on the Charity train.
Don't blame Sammy.
Next up, we got a call from Pat.
Hello, this is Pat from Missouri, sitting in Las Vegas, waiting to get unloaded this morning. I gotta say, really, really like this episode. I was very happy that Eva didn't get pulled from the game or quit. I was really afraid something like that was going to happen. And it was amazing to see her finish up the challenge and for her team to come in second. I thought was great. And then Joe, of course, going and comforting her and helping her calm down was nice, was the right thing to do. I'm glad Jeff allowed it. I don't know if he didn't say that Joe could go over there, if Joe would have. I'm not really sure about that, but I'm glad Jeff spoke up. That was really something to see, and I hope it doesn't bite both of them in the butt, but I'm sure it will since they've merged. Somebody or everybody's going to see them as a big threat. So that kind of stinks, but that's part of the game. Say, being the sore loser, I did not like that. The team that won, they weren't overly celebrating. They weren't yelling in your face or any of this stuff. They were celebrating. And for Say to have to put her 12 cents in, I thought was just stupid. It's like, keep your mouth shut. You know, these people won. It might be the only time they win anything on Survivor. Let them celebrate. And if she celebrates when she wins, I hope somebody will throw it in her face. I doubt it, but that's how I am. The purple team, Loggy, I really think they are going to be a tough group to beat now that they're merged, or even before they were merged. I think they're going to be really tough. I can see one of them winning, and I can see it being Mary. I really like her. I think she's very smart. She's maybe kind of under the radar, not for sure, but still pulling for my girl Charity, though, so that's good. As for everybody else, Cedric, I just don't even know why he's out there. It's like he can't bounce a ball. He votes crazily. I would love to see him go, but like someone said, I think last week, since he's weak, basically not a good player at all. He'll probably make it to the end, which I don't like. Speaking of the end, I understand them voting out Bianca. Of course, I really wish it would have been Faye. I hated to see Bianca crying. That really stinks, but I also really liked it because it shows that she really cared and that she wanted to be there. I am so annoyed every time when somebody gets voted out and they're throwing these I love yous back and forth. No, you don't love each other, for one, but you just got voted out. You lost a chance for $1 million, but also for her, it's her dream. So I was glad she didn't tell us she loved it. I was glad she was upset. I would really like to see her come back because I think she could be a good player. One last thing. So this is just me being an old man and annoyed about everything. When did it become a thing for every competition, every cooking show, everything on TV, that whenever there's something going on, somebody is screaming, let's go? Like, when did the phrase, let's go, become a thing? I don't like it. I don't know why I don't like it, but it just gets on my nerves. Oh well, overall though, the show was great. I love to see it. I love Eva making it. Love that my girl Charity's still there. And till next week, see y'all.
Thanks, Pat.
It has been a thing for quite some time, for sure.
I didn't research it, but my experience with it came from esports. So video games and team video games. I guess that's where I was most exposed to it. It could have been in standard sports games, real life sports games too, that it actually originated.
Well, like you said, now it's everything, everywhere.
It's a common go-to. It's almost like it's not a filler word, but it's a filler phrase in a celebration.
It's basically, I'm ready. Let's go.
No, it's a celebration of something good that just happened.
Well, that too, but. It's used in all kinds of ways now.
Well, to Pat, I agree with Pat. It is way overused. Yeah, but I guess it's just in the parlance right now. Thanks, Pat. Next up, we got an email from Becca in South Carolina.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hi, Survivor fans. I've missed a couple of weeks of sending in feedback, and I think that's because of your new time zone. You'd think it would be easy now that we are actually in the same time zone. But having lived in 6 time zones in the years I've been listening to the show, I guess I'm just used to needing to do math to figure out when feedback's due. I keep thinking it's due hours before and incorrectly believing that I'm too late to send. This week I told myself that as long as I get the message out before Caroline's softball game, it will be on time.
All right. Whatever works.
All right. Say continues to frustrate our whole family. Couldn't she think of a less abrasive explanation for sitting out? It was fun to see the survivors playing spike ball in the reward challenge. We have that game in our backyard, but I can't get the hang of it. I would not have been helpful to my tribe.
I didn't even know it had a name. That's cool.
Yeah. Caroline was cheering hard when Purple won the challenge, and Liam followed suit when Kyle finished it for Vula. Say's recommendation to Mary was to win with a little more tactfulness. Say is the last person I'd go to for tactfulness advice.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned that my kids are loving watching their first season of full episodes, but that they haven't learned to hold their comments until commercials. I wrote down a few of their outbursts. Say, Chrissy is my biggest red flag. Liam, your entire personality is a red flag.
It seems that way.
Liam, Joe has a build like The Rock. Caroline, I know. I wonder if he can do that bounce thing and bounce his pecs like The Rock does.
Okay, Caroline.
Liam, when Say was working on the ball table, give Say a meltdown. Give Say a meltdown. Everyone was quiet, though, watching Joe's concern for Eva after the challenge. What a special moment. We were all so glad that Joe was able to hug her and calm her down. They both really seemed to need that. Star managed to completely change Caroline's opinion of her after that conversation with Eva. We think Cedric must have a very good bedside manner. It seems so easy for people to open up to him.
That's a good point.
When Bianca revealed that she didn't have a vote, it was my husband who couldn't stay quiet. Why do people talk to Cedric? Can't wait to see how things go after the merge. Looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts. All right. Thanks, Becca.
Yeah, enjoyed getting
that was fun getting to be with your family.
Yeah, the insight into your family there. Becca family time. Next up, we got a call from Tuppence.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Tuppence calling in from Chicago. In honor of this very sappy, sentimental, earnest episode where we all got to exist in Jeff Probst's utopia for a few short moments before Bianca's dreams came to an end, I wanted to quickly share my experience with this podcast. I grew up with Survivor on in the background always because my dad has always been a religious viewer, but it was only recently that I really got into the show myself, which is to say, have been consumed by the show. Sammy from the Midwest is my best friend, and we've been absolutely plowing through it. And I just wanted to say how much your show and all the listeners who call in really enrich this experience. It's just fantastic to have this sort of water cooler talk kind of outlet for things that happened on TV a decade ago. It's just endless hours of commercial-free radio, all about my favorite show with people whose opinions I mostly agree with. And so, Joanne and Stacy, thank you so much for sustaining this program. I will, of course, continue to tune in, and it's incredible to experience a live airing season alongside you all. Okay, now on to the episode. I think my favorite quote comes from Mitch when he said, "Girl, be quiet." I have to respect Say's gameplay, but I also am not surprised that she hasn't made too many friends out there. Let's put it that way. A close second favorite quote is Cedric's reaction to Bianca telling him she didn't have a vote. Just the way he said, "Oh, really?" I couldn't get enough. It's so crazy how the person playing like the dumbest game is once again in the decision-making position. Justin should have confided. Bianca should not have confided. I mean, I feel like the producers are just so happy about this, but we are all watching Cedric and saying, I don't think this man is a doctor because he's acting absolutely a fool. But I think also it's that he seems really harmless and calm. And Say wants to be making the moves that he's making, but because she's playing so aggressively and she's so outspoken, she doesn't end up with the information. He does. And information is power. And so he has found a way to send home some great players. But I'm happy because I won my vote out point. As for Loggy, Star giving Eva the idol, it was kind of the opposite of the way that Camilla solved Kyle's and then just passed it over to him. That moment also felt odd, and the kind of opposite way. And I think both cases are kind of a testament to the way that social mores really control our behavior. Like the way Ava exploded in celebration, I think that kind of actually worked in her favor, because it would have been weird for Star to like take it from her after Eva had exclaimed like, I did it, and had gotten so excited. It's just interesting how those social dynamics can kind of play out in ways that create really big impacts on the game, potentially. Finally, Vula. I love Super Vula. I love how these castaways are getting into the generational trauma that they have all faced, and I love how bonded they now seem to be. My only fear, I picked Kyle as my Jabik USB. By the way, would you please explain why it is called a USB? I have not heard the explanation for this acronym or slang in any episodes I've listened to. I picked Kyle because his intro video, he gave me the impression that he was not only well-rounded, but also pretty humble, and he kind of identified as a jack of all, master of none. But now I fear that he and Camilla, whom I also adore, may be too confident. In any case, this tribe is bonded with a capital B, and I'm feeling hopeful overall for my USB and for the entertainment of the rest of the season. Woohoo! Kudos to the casting directors and the editors for putting together what seems to be a genuinely kind cast of quirky individuals. And kudos to the survivors for bringing Jeff to tears. Yeah, and kudos to you, SFP. Happy to be here. Thank you for everything you guys do.
Excellent. Good job, Tuppence. Let's see. USB Ultimate Survivor bonus. That's from our fantasy league. That's the 24 points you can score by picking the winner before the season even starts.
Yeah, it's actually the bonus, but we just kind of, your person is your USB. So.
Yeah, I'm inundated with acronyms from my work. So when we were putting the game together, we came up with that, and that's what stuck. Use it all the time. And we do get questions from time to time, which is completely okay about any aspect of it. There's also a link to the rules where that's explained. It writes out USB. Mm-hmm. Ultimate Survivor bonus, all that, but that would be on the GSFL site.
Yes, under official rules.
Mm-hmm. And thanks so much for sharing about going through the previous episodes and what that meant to you. It's something that's significant for us because we had never envisioned a legacy, but there is a legacy there now of our shows over the past 20 years that people can tap into. And when people make donations and help make it possible to keep that whole library there, I love hearing that and having those folks be able to get that affirmation too.
Yeah, I enjoy that too.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing, Tuppence.
Next up, we got a call from Brandyn.
Hey there, Joanne and Stacy. It's Brandyn from Indiana with my feedback for episode 5 of season 48. I thought that the big emotional moment that they continued to promote did it very well. I thought it meant a lot. I got teary-eyed as well. I was so happy that it was a situation where Eva got overwhelmed in a victory, and not that it was Eva's just crumbling and losing the challenge for her tribe and then having to pick up and go from there. So glad that wasn't the direction that it ended up going, because that's where it felt very much like it was going. I also think that the Vula meal from the reward challenge and the way that seemingly potentially affected the way that tribe is going to possibly come together moving into the merge is a perfect case in point in why the game needs to be longer. Because if you have down days where you're just sitting at the beach, you have more chances for these conversations to happen. You have more chances for the way that people socially work to affect the way that the game plays out. And I think that is something we are absolutely missing with the 26-day format. And so maybe it happened, maybe it's not real, maybe it's just that we were all talking out loud, and so we have to show strength and be Vula strong. But if that does come together as a 4 moving forward through the merge, I think that's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to that because I want Camilla to go far. Camilla's my USB. I'm still on Team Camilla. Also, wanted to point out on the other tribe there, Bianca. Sad to see Bianca go. I didn't really have a super connection to the Bianca character, but it doesn't seem like there's necessarily anything. I don't think there's any real villains on the season, but I'm not rooting against Bianca to go. But I also thought it made perfect sense for Cedric and for Chrissy to just vote for Bianca and get rid of the person that doesn't have a vote. Also, a possible Purple Tribe member that seemingly felt very strong up until the past 2 weeks. Obviously, now we've seen that be crumbled just a bit. I did think it was funny, though, that Say, in continuing to disparage Cedric, says that he is both loyal to a fault and also a number that's up for anything that isn't him. She said that in the exact same sentence. And it's like, those are two different things. You're just disparaging Cedric to disparage Cedric at this point, Say. Also, I thought it was funny that Say continues to not count votes during tribal councils because any information that could be gained by counting the votes, Say's not going to get it because she's just not bothering with it. That or she's really bad at counting, one or the other. I thought it was really funny when Chrissy had to point out, did you notice that there was only 4 votes in that tribal council? Oh, goodness. But the merge is here. Who's going to be screwed next week and end up being voted out before they probably should be? We'll find out.
Excellent. Thanks, Brandon. Next up, we got a call from Anderson.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Anderson from North Carolina calling with my feedback for week 5. All right. So going into tribal council, I was pretty worried because I had both Cedric and Say safe this week. And I was, I'm not. If I lose a 5th point this week, it's going to go out the rest of the season, and I'm going to have to sing a parody song already. But somehow I was praying up Bianca going home, Bianca went home, and yeah, hope your niece is doing better, Joanne. And Mergatory week is next week. Looks like the strong people will get together. I don't think they'll want to vote off Cedric if Mitch is in this, because Mitch will tell them not to. They won't vote off Camilla, so I'm thinking Say is going to go home. It's either going to be Say or Charity. And who's going to win immunity? Probably one of the strong alliance or Mary. But yeah, my thoughts. And is it me, or did Cedric do good in the reward challenge up until the bouncing the ball thing? That's just my thoughts. Bye.
Yeah, when he got to the, what was it? Becca said it was called Spike Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, up until then, I think he was doing okay. I think he managed to hit the paddle just fine. But yeah, he was the only one that they showed spiking the ball in the reverse direction.
Thank you, Anderson.
Next up, we got an email from Jack in California. This recent episode was quite emotional. I did think something was going to happen between Eva and Joe based on a promo that was out there, but I didn't expect it to get to me. It was really hard for me to see Eva struggling as much as she was, and seeing Joe supporting her from the sidelines initially was really encouraging. After the challenge, I know there are rules in place, but if I were Joe seeing this happening after hearing the story, I would have probably gone over and have helped her immediately regardless of the rules. Being a person with a disability myself and having some friends who have autism, I can understand the struggles that she has gone through, and I felt the pain and emotion that she showed. The whole ordeal was something very special. I like Eva and Joe a lot more now. I liked them before, and I can see that one of those two could win the whole thing. I don't know if I'll switch my USB from Shahin to one of them, but I can see this bond be there forever, and I love what I saw there. I do wonder what the other fans have to say about this interaction. After Eva was the one who solved the Beware advantage for Star, I'm kind of surprised that Star gave the advantage to Eva. I don't know if it was to bond with her more or as a thank you for sharing the story. We got 2 challenges this episode, and the reward challenge came rather early. We got our first of many sanctuary trips. I believe this was the first time in the new era that we got a trip with the entire tribe going and not just individuals. Yeah, maybe.
Or I like the theory that she was just trying to get that idol off her back, so she wasn't the biggest target.
Okay. You're just like a beat behind it with that.
I know, but I
didn't know what you were saying at first.
I waited for you to break this.
The dynamic between Mary and Say is entertaining, but if I was out there, I probably would try to get Say out because of how hard she has been playing. There was really great bonding happening over at Vula with sharing war and family history with where they came from after finally winning a challenge, which I was really glad to see that they won something. Bring on the Mergatory, and who knows at this point who's going next. It can't be tricky at Mergatory, that's for sure. Thanks, Jack. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's David in Pittsburgh, and this is going to be a quick take on the last 3 episodes of Survivor. Because I've been away, I've been playing catch-up, and so I've watched really the first 4 episodes practically back-to-back, one a night, until I got caught up on the latest one. And because I haven't been able to play JSFL, I'm not really connected to one character, like if they are going home or even if they win. So it's kind of a different experience watching Survivor this season. So when Thomas got sent home last time, I thought, I I mean, I don't know. People seem to be saying online, oh, what a great player, and he'll be invited back. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. He seemed like an okay guy, but I just didn't see the great strategy behind what he was doing. And now with Bianca going out, I really didn't know her that well, but I have a couple thoughts on that. I told you that I was very emotional at the beginning of the episodes, and now obviously it culminated in the current episode. I can just see how everybody's going to react to that. I can't imagine anybody not being moved with Eva finally winning and then her meltdown after and how Joe responded. But when Jeff got choked up and he got caught off guard, I just thought this has to affect everybody on the team. And Joanne, you said it, I think it's probably put the close to Joe's and Eva's game winning, because if I were playing in the game and I saw how emotional everybody was about them and how much they're well liked, I thought, I can't have them sitting with me at the end. So I think it ended their game, but I still thought it was a great moment on television, a great moment for the autistic community, and I was really touched by it. And now to Bianca. Bianca. She even said her gut is telling her not to say anything to anyone. And I thought her plan was perfect. It was in the worst possible spot you could be in. If the other two sides were playing against each other and they wouldn't be looking at her, and then you'd go to a tie and then another tie, I think it would have worked out for her because she could have done damage control when she got back. But when she went and talked to Cedric, as soon as she did that, I thought, what are you doing? And we saw the results of that. He obviously told Chrissy, and I'm not sure if he told Mitch, but those who definitely knew because of the comments Chrissy was making at the tribal council. As for Cedric, good play, guy, but do you think Say is going to be glad about that and not hold it? All the other votes against you? Buddy. We'll see how it plays out. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks, David. Good job.
I actually think now, since you said that Bianca said she watched him like a hawk, he had no opportunity to speak to Chrissy and Mitch. Mm-hmm. I now believe that was the vote they had planned all along. Mm-hmm. And
it's most likely, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, because I don't know if both Cedric and Bianca had allowed Say to think they were voting with her for Chrissy, so that her vote wouldn't matter. And I'm sure that whoever Bianca was going to vote for, probably in Cedric's mind, was Say. Anyway. The three of them, Cedric, Chrissy, and Mitch, were going to control the vote anyway. And they'd already worked it out. Mm-hmm. So that at the worst case, if Say had changed and voted a different way, probably would have created a tie. And then they would have still been in control for a revote. And Bianca telling him just made it that much easier to do because they didn't have to worry about where her vote went.
Yeah, he just got to say, interesting.
Yeah.
And then move on.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're going home anyway. So.
Yeah.
But that's what I think now, that they had already planned it out.
It does seem more likely.
Because Cedric had said, I don't want to get rid of Say yet, but I know we'll need to. Maybe he felt safer knowing that the merge was coming to go in with Say versus Bianca.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
at least
obviously
she's known.
To get rid of an original Logie too, just to deplete their numbers.
Yes, that was a goal of
something that they would ideally be targeting if they're playing strategically.
Right.
Yes. Good stuff. Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and wow, there's so much to talk about in this episode. I think we should all get 16 minutes of feedback. How about that? But no, great episode. I think last week's still a little bit better, just because I'm more of a gameplay guy. We know this, and there's a pretty awesome gameplay last week. But this one, yeah. Great episode. All right, Tribal Council real quick. Wild. While I'm not always a fan of when Survivor hides things from the audience so that we as well are blindsided, I feel like it worked here because Chrissy, after the vote was read, clearly we knew she voted Bianca, so it wasn't, oh, who was that? Because she didn't have a vote. You see that? There are only 4 votes in there. Like, wild decision from Cedric, because he votes out Justin because he doesn't tell him about his losing a vote, and he votes out Bianca because she does. So you never know what this man's gonna do. You know, it's a good episode when the tribal council, that's insane, isn't even the big point of the episode, which I know you guys talked about how this episode felt longer. It actually was, because there wasn't a full intro. It was just like the little snippet intro that sometimes they do, which they used to do all the time when they just stopped showing the intro. That's what we got in this episode, which back in the day, that meant, oh, we're going to get a lot more stuff in this episode. That's why it felt longer, because it was. The moment with Eva and Joe, amazing. It's been hyped up all week. The way it happened was totally unexpected. The pain in Joe's face, because he can't go over there. He's not the type of guy that's just going to break a rule. They've been told, hey, no cross-tribal communication. You have to stay with your tribe during town. Like, stuff like this. Joe talked about in his interview afterwards with Mike Bloom that was released earlier this week. Really good article. He doesn't know what it looks like. She told him signs, but her hands were occupied because she was hugging the tribe. He doesn't know if this is an episode or if this is just an emotional moment for her. He has no idea. He thinks he knows what's going on, but he doesn't want to go over there and screw everything up for her. That's why you guys said, oh, he looks angry. He was just frustrated, concerned, sad, emotional. Jeff did a really good job realizing what was happening, because obviously she had the same conversation with Jeff and the whole production team heading into the game. Hey, this is what this might look like. He doesn't know for sure if that is what it is. Very powerful moment. Seeing Jeff cry, crazy. I know some people aren't a fan of these emotional moments that are just shoved down our throats in the new era, but this isn't that. This is earned. This is real. In the early new era, it was just, hey, here's this person, here's something sad about him, cry. Underrated moment was Green Tribe after the reward, talking about their parents' histories and bonding over that, their relationship, overcoming the deception of the previous tribal. Really powerful as well. A very emotional episode. I think this sets up the merge to be very interesting. Also, Star giving Eva the idol, crazy. I feel like absolutely insane. I did not see that coming. I was, what? Predictions for next week. I think it's going to be between Say, Mary, and Star as the Mergatory boot here. I hope they do it the same way they did last season, where it was pretty much just a regular merge, because that was great. I will see you all next time.
Excellent. Thanks, Parker. I like all the extra insights there. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joe and Stacey, North 5 fans. Hope everyone is well and safe. I thought it was a really nice episode. A bit of a blindside at the end there, but I thought Tribe Time, looking at the beginning, seeing Joe, Camilla, Kyle, Shahin talk about their family's trials and tribulations was really touching, and especially with Shahin, because I can connect with Shahin. My parents fled Iran in 89, so it was after his family for sure, but my family didn't have any ties with the monarchy. My family are a minority religion, so they're persecuted. It's a Baha'i faith. It's a quite small religion, but relatively prominent in Iran, but you can't really practice your faith in Iran as a Baha'i, otherwise you'll be persecuted. And in the case of many of my family members who have been in prison, as recently as my auntie. So, yeah, it's really, really difficult in Iran, and I really appreciated what Shane was able to do in focusing on that. I thought heading into, I guess, the immunity challenge, it was really difficult to be able to see anyone else but Siva losing. I had a look and I was like, they're gone. And from the very beginning of that, and I was like, Say's done. Finally, I think Cedric is going to see the light. I just had this feeling. Unfortunately, he saw the light in a different way, and this is where I found it really intriguing. Usually a 2-2-1 split in a tribe swap would usually let that one be the pivot between the two pairs. But what Cedric was able to do was able to leverage information, which I give him credit for. I mean, I don't know if he did it in the right way, but the other way you can look at it is that Say has no agency in this game. Say is a really, I guess, intelligent player, but I don't think there's any savviness to her play. And I think that she's been on the wrong side of a few votes. That tells me that she may she has like little perception in what's going on around her. So I don't see her as being someone that's very dangerous, and I don't see her as anyone that can win this game. Bianca held the key, I think, and I think Chrissy and Mitch, they just wanted to reduce numbers, as both of you kind of talked about there. And I think that's what happened, unfortunately. I feel really bad for Bianca. It was a bit of a blindside. I don't think Cedric really got any benefit out of it individually, because I don't know if he has a really like a good enough relationship with Chrissy and Mitch, to be honest, because his previous tribe is quite scattered. Previous Green tribe, I don't think they have any ties. So yes, he's a bit of a bit of a pawn at the moment. But I just don't see Chrissy, Mitch, and the rest of the previous Orange tribe really latching onto him and using him as a piece. Again, we have in this background the undercurrent of a strong versus weak vote off block, but I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't see that holding up. Just like when I don't see women versus men or the women's alliance ever holding up, it never works out, and I don't think that'll work out. I think there's going to be something that breaks it up. So yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. I found the vote off really interesting, and I'm really excited to see what happens in Mergatory, albeit I don't like the concept. Anyway, thanks for all that you do. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks, Shahin. Good job.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing.
Next up, we got an email from Matt and Summer in Tennessee.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's Matt and Summer back at home base in East Tennessee. Quite a bit to unpack, especially now that we've watched some of the post-episode interviews and analysis. We made a last-minute change to Bianca as our vote out, and man, did that pay off. In retrospect, Bianca was clearly the obvious choice, being the odd player out on New Siva and no vote. But at first glance, our initial pick was Cedric. Again, since Say acts like she has a grudge against him. Clearly, Cedric really is playing the game, as he used the info Bianca shared about her vote to get her out. All in all, the final vote was hard to interpret for us as well. Why didn't Mitch vote with Cedric and Chrissy? Joanne's thoughts here made a lot of sense, and we're looking forward to what the other fans make of this. We were flabbergasted by Star immediately giving up her idol to Eva. Maybe this will change the relationship between the two, but just as likely to be another replay of Micronesia's Eric's fatal idol giveaway. As Matt says, never ever Eric yourself. It was great to see all the players support Eva and accept her differences, hoping Eva will extend similar support to her tribe mate Star, who seems, to us anyway, even more socially challenged. Time will tell. Looks like next week we will be in Mergatory territory. Exciting to watch for sure, but impossibly challenging for our JSFL game. Say seems like the safe choice for now, but without knowing what reshuffle awaits, any vote-off pick is just a shot in the dark. Cue the Ozzy Osbourne song.
Oh, I thought you were making a Survivor reference. Okay.
That too.
Yeah, double. Can't wait to hear what the other superfans have to say, and as always, we appreciate everything you do. All right, thanks Matt, thanks Summer. Up next, we've got a call from Crystal.
Hi Joanne and Stacy, this is Crystal from Santa Rosa. Well, that episode really touched my heart. How beautiful was that? This episode would be a good example to show someone who says Survivor is scripted, right? Well, here's my emotional dilemma, though. After the tears are dry, do you really think anyone would dare keep Eva and Joe around? I mean, maybe Mitch, because he's a freaking angel, but still, both of them better find idols and win immunity a lot. Since Eva was gifted Star's idol, I think she's safe for now, but sadly, Joe would be high on the list to go. I also think this event might actually benefit Kyle and Camilla too, because the buzz around camp will probably be about Joe and Eva, so they might be able to stall the discussion about their power duo status. And also, I'm not 100% convinced that Shahin and Joe will stay as committed to them being Final Four. The family stories did bring them together in a really sweet way, but it's still early, and we've all seen how the perfect bond can go astray. Let's cue up Charlie and Maria, Dee and Austin, and for us old schoolers, the epic Boston Rob and Lex split. It's never as invincible as it seems. David. He was adorable with his milk prize, and I'm kind of contemplating adopting him right now. I did get the vibe Eva felt about Charity being fake. I can't explain it, just a spidey sense. So there's that. Guy is a prickly thorn, and I would sit on the opposite end of the beach from her. Game or no game. Cedric is letting this game happen to him rather than creating his own plan, and I'm getting so annoyed with him. The only person I haven't commented on is Chrissy. Take that for what it is. Maybe someone else can explain her to me. I'm just not getting it. Okay, thanks you guys. Can't wait to hear what everyone else thinks about this emotional episode, and I hope Jeff can handle all the memes about it. Love you, Probst. Bye.
All right. Good job, Crystal.
I kind of feel like for some reason they're keeping Chrissy a little under wraps right now so that it will make more of an impression maybe later on when we actually do get to see more of her personality. I mean, they show us little snippets, but nothing that you can really put together yet to form her true personality. So, but it seems like a lot of people want to work with her. We saw a picture of her with her head on Cedric's shoulder, and back at camp. And so, I don't know, the people seem to really like her. Pre-game, while they were all there but couldn't speak, a lot of people were like, oh, I want to work with her before they even spoke to her. So I think there's more to come on Chrissy. They're just not ready to put it out there yet.
Either that or they're purpling her because she really does have an old school approach and she just never makes a significant mark on the game.
So you think she's a purple Chrissy?
It could be. Could be. Adopt David, Crystal. Wink, wink. I think I understand what you're saying. Next up, we got a call from Justin.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor superfans. It's Justin from Michigan. Wow, what a roller coaster of an episode. I was prepared because of the preview to have my heartstrings tugged at, but I did not expect the blind side of Tribal Council. I want to start with, I laughed out loud with David's scene with Milk. I think it's been every episode he's at least mentioned, either to players or in a confessional, his love for milk or chocolate milk, and I just find that hilarious that it's a running joke. The music that played when he was taking the sip of the milk, this romantic, that he's in love with milk music, was hilarious. Now to more serious stuff. I thought it was a really cool moment. Joe watching Eva from a distance, realizing she was probably going through something, and that hesitation of, am I allowed to step in and help? I mean, you saw him talking her through it, but as Jeff said, it's kind of been a standard to keep the tribe separate, and for him to allow that, recognizing in the moment that she did need some support from somebody she trusted and had a bond with, I thought that was good to break away from the game for just a minute, and then her speech afterwards I thought really tied it all together. I'm really curious how their bond and alliance develops post-merge. Obviously, everybody's going to see them as one of the bigger threats as a team, as a duo. Now that Eva has the idol from Star, they have extra power. I mean, everybody knows that Star gave Eva that idol now. Mm-hmm. So now they know, well, Joe and Eva are tight and they have an idol together. It might actually be Joe's demise, because they might not want to go after Eva because she has the idol, but they might want to split them up. So I think maybe Joe goes out before Eva, but we'll see. So apparently it doesn't matter if you tell Cedric or not, he's going to end your game. So we saw Justin decided not to tell Cedric, ended up being his demise. We see Bianca decides to trust and tell Cedric, ends up being her demise. Basically, he's shaping into an unlikely, quiet villain, where every chance he has to take out the target and say, where nobody would blame him for, she is a firecracker, she is unpredictable, and he keeps tying himself to her. He has the opportunity to keep Justin, doesn't. Has the opportunity to form an alliance with Bianca, doesn't do it. It's just shaping up for say he's going to take him out. I hope she goes next. I hope she's kind of the Rome boot from that season where it's just, yeah, we can all agree. Let's just do this person and then we can move on. If they don't do that, then she deserves to win. I mean, if they're stupid enough to keep her around, she deserves to win. I hope they take her out, but I'm not sure. The way it shook out, Chrissy had an interesting choice. Apparently, Cedric told her that Bianca didn't have a vote, in that he was going to vote for Bianca, or they came up with that plan together. But she knew Say was voting for her. So I don't know why she wouldn't have just agreed, yeah, Cedric, let's vote Bianca, and then just take out Say. Because then she has Bianca as a potential ally, and Cedric has nowhere to go. So then Cedric would have no other option but to latch onto them. I mean, not knowing Mergatory's coming. I just don't understand her decision. I mean, cool that she wanted to shake it up and take out Bianca. The only thing I can think is maybe she really wants to keep Siva strong, but even that, so you still don't technically have the numbers if all the Vula decide to go with Lagi. It was very exciting, very emotional, very, very cool ending, and I'm looking forward to what happens next.
Thanks, Justin. Next up, we got a call from Jade-n-Christine.
Hi, Jen and Stacey. This is Jade.
And Christine.
From Hawaii.
Aloha.
So that was a great episode. I was really surprised that Camilla and Kyle kept up the act when they got back to camp, because I thought that they would just kind of reveal their relationship after that. But I think it's smart that they didn't. And Kyle didn't say Camilla told him. But I'm wondering, how did they explain that Camilla voted for Thomas? Or did Kyle use his extra vote to vote for Thomas and Camilla voted for Kyle? I'm not clear on that one. Kyle could have used his idol without burning the extra vote, so why did they play it? I don't know. I wish they'd clarified that in the edit. Maybe Joanne and Stacey, if you have any insights.
Yeah, I wish we could see what actually happened.
Yeah.
Just like after that immunity challenge, seeing Star just give away her idol
That was
to
so
Eva,
weird. Yeah.
I'm sure she was really swept up in the moment, this emotional moment, and as much as that was great to see, this was just weird. Why didn't she just say, okay, if you guys help me, we can have this idol for all of us? Or I don't know, maybe she just felt like she would put too much of a target on herself. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. It didn't seem strategic at all, though. It was just like, I'm just going to give her the idol. It was just this spur-of-the-moment decision. It was weird.
And she's definitely going to regret it.
Oh, yeah, she's really going to regret it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I've got to think about new USB now. I'm thinking Camilla, maybe? Because she seems like the type of semi-under-the-radar but really strong strategic player that has been winning more in the new era, like Rachel, right? So maybe Shahin. But I don't know. He's got a big target. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to get somebody that's kind of playing under the radar for a bit, especially when after the merge.
Yeah.
Yeah. My question is, does Say being left out of the vote mean that she's on the bottom and now she knows she's on the bottom? But it doesn't matter because they are just going to the merge situation. Or in the merge situation next week, yeah. So, but this week, Jade and I both got a vote-off point for Bianca, our first in the season. And I got a vote-off point. I have to give all props to Jade because I basically just copied her. It was Wednesday, very early in the morning when I put in my picks. I almost forgot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing either. So we're probably both in trouble. It's back to guessing in the dark next week. But either way, we're going to enjoy the episode. Thanks, everyone.
Good job. Thanks, Jade-n-Christine. Well, you got at least 3 potential easy ones to choose from. You got Say, Star, and Charity.
Charity, yeah.
Yeah. You could actually throw Eva in the mix because with the well-known immunity idol, that's a big target. Let's nullify that. Let's
and the one
shut that thing down.
One thing we're not even looking at is Eva and Joe should be fierce in individual competition. Both of them. And to have them that close, both being physical threats, her having an idol, because that will get out. Yes, it's just Lagi that knows right now, but they'll be telling to other people, so that will get out as well. And everybody knowing the closeness between her and Joe, it puts huge targets. Now, they're telling us they want to come up with a strong person alliance. So you're thinking, oh, well, maybe they'll be saved. But I don't know. I'm skeptical about how long that will work.
I want to go back to Jade-n-Christine. We're talking about that extra vote that we didn't get to see, and I think it's just simply because it did not matter.
Yeah.
It was there. Jeff said, that's enough.
That's enough.
It was in the basket. And now Kyle said, so it's clear for everyone that he did play it. There you go. It's very clear. And it was completely irrelevant to the result. That's all.
Right.
I think that's where we are.
But I think Jeff also did it because he wanted to leave that hanging out there. Did he play it? Didn't he play it? You know, he likes to leave things hanging like that.
I don't think it was hanging when he said, you know, that's enough. It implied there was an extra one there.
Maybe. You're right. I don't know that I paid that much attention to it. But, all right.
It would have been interesting if that's what Joe was really digging into, because he wasn't really handling it well when they got back to camp. And if that was something that he had picked up on and was, you know, digging into a little more, trying to suss out, okay, so where was Joe, you know, Probe said that's enough, implying there was more to be counted, but it wasn't needed, and we didn't get any of that because, of course, it didn't matter. Yeah. But yeah, I think maybe in the short term, that was a good move by Star, like everybody's saying, getting that target off her back. And she's still there. She's still in that same mode. You could see it when she was talking to Eva. She was so excited for Eva, and she was loud and really doing her Star thing. That all that's still there. They're just not showing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not quite her time, but maybe. I also think that Say's going to disappear in the merge if she can be tactful, as she was encouraging Mary to be.
That's not happening.
If she were to do that, though, she could disappear.
No.
Yeah, it seems unlikely that she would all of a sudden find that self-discipline.
She is not even able to do that. I would not believe it.
After a lifetime of being encouraged not to and rewarded for not having a filter.
That's
she was cast for that probably primary reason.
That's just kind of innate within her. So, I'm not seeing it that she has that capability.
Thanks again, Jade-n-Christine. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the plush moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, I'm slow, but I finally realized the truth about the new era of Survivor. The players think they're on a game show trying to win $1 million, but the producers are actually making a 13-episode series about that competition and aim to maximize moments and ratings for each episode by editing heavily to highlight narratives, backstories, and struggles. And that's it. That's what we've come to fully... You did the perfect summarization, but the whole deal when Probst came out and said he's there to make TV moments, that's it. That's the fuller explanation for the whole thing. And that's why you get some of these odd production decisions and choices, because it's all in service to that.
Well, and that's the irony as well, is that Jeff got a little bit bigger moment than he'd counted on, too, because he got emotionally involved.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, he said in the On Fire podcast that he decided to share that with his kids. His kids are a lot older. They're in college. And he was looking at that, working on the episode, and he was together with them and shared it with them. And then he immediately started laughing, talking about drunk Probst and making fun of him and making memes of him and all that. So he got a whole different side of that process too. Back to Josh and his observations. The California girls didn't last one tribal. With their own A&R guy, I'd have thought they'd chart better. That was good. We worked Thomas back into that. Kyle and Camilla taught a masterclass on deception. It's a required elective at Survivor U. The reward challenges task will be featured in the next Super Mario video game. In his On Fire podcast, Jeff admitted he tells ball jokes because he's 14 years old. He did. Yeah, that's funny.
Hello,
boy,
he's not the only one.
They even featured that one, which was one of the most egregious ones I think he's ever done in this past episode. Star showed off her Star showed off her basketball skills by putting a ball in the hoop with a bounce pass. In strategy and carnival games, Cedric is a danger to himself. No doubt. I wouldn't be surprised if he did hit himself at one point. Say needed a donut because sitting out uses a lot of energy. My DVR glitched. I had set it for Survivor, but it recorded an extended PSA instead. Okay, it did seem like that to a degree. I know you're getting to with that. Say hates gloating when she's not the one doing it. Flight attendant Charity rubs some folks the wrong way. If she's not careful, she'll wind up in the exit row. That's bad. When Bianca started getting more confessionals, I figured her days were numbered. Say is tired from challenges and needs a break. Ponderosa is that-a-way. Loggy won food for charity. Makes sense. Lots of people donate food to charity. Mitch and Chrissy want to just say no. Bianca is still upset about her godforsaken journey. She needed a better travel agent. Yeah, that was just awful. Say doesn't want to be mommed to death. She must have been a handful as a teen. Yes. If David ever goes missing, he's got to wind up on a milk carton. That's what I was trying to remember after Justin. There's an extended scene with David and milk, and it's all the times that he's referenced milk across all 5 episodes. So there's a link to that in the show notes if you want to check it out. It's like For the Love of Milk. If David, okay. I'd like to see the themed season Survivor Jury Duty. A computer spits out names of prospective players, and the producers have a set number of blocks to keep them off the season. Compared to Civil War, religious revolutions, and segregation, being at Vula isn't so bad. Yeah, that is a way to sum that up. David was smart to land his ball in an outer hole to leave easier holes for others. While Eva was having her episode, Joe looked like a canine dog being told to stay when he wanted to pounce. Now, there's a different take on that moment. Before the episode began, we were told that it contained a survivor first. I had hoped they meant that Jeff would finally resist making bad ball jokes during the challenge. No good deed goes unpunished. Now Eva has to navigate having stars idle when everyone is looking for an easy boot. Did anyone else notice that Charity was often missing from Loggy Camp shots? Yeah, it does seem that way. Now that the tribes are coming together on one beach, I predict that Joe's next moral dilemma will be how much to help Eva navigate having an idol. Flintless Siva banked their fire. Old Vula wished they never had a fire to bank. If CBS ever cancels the show, it could find a second life as a CW melodrama. Yeah. Yep. Any player who puts their game into Cedric's hands is a butthead. A butthead to the butt doctor. At some point, Say will be a liability and need to go. There's no time like the present. If you don't tell Cedric you lost your vote, he'll target you. If you tell him, he'll target you. Going to tribal is a gift, and sometimes that gift is an ugly sweater. It's hard to trust your gut when all it wants is food. Jeff liked the idea of being in a small room with the walls closing in. He'll probably include it in a future individual immunity challenge. Say doesn't want a dynamic duo in the game. Cedric is Buttman. Who's Robin? Next time, drop your buffs, let the chaos begin. What twist will deny someone a place on the jury? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Next up, we got a call from Jill.
Hi, Joe and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill in the Outback here. I really liked this episode. We had a bit of everything. The challenges were great. We had 2 challenges, which is even better. The drama and the humanity of Joe and Eva through the immunity challenge. The personal stories from the Vula tribe. It was a really good episode, a really well-rounded episode, and that's what I liked mostly about it. It really was a beautiful moment between Joe and Eva and how he could help her through her episode and the way that she explained it afterwards. I just wish she'd explained it a little bit more, that Joe knew previously what he had to do. And I agree with Joanne that I do think that she had an episode before and that he'd helped her through it. It just seemed a little bit too well done, if that makes sense. But it was great, and it really put the human touch on the show. Say really is funny, like her reaction after the reward challenge, and I almost do agree with her, but say what you mean, but you just don't have to say it at all. It must have been so tempting to vote her out, but I agree with voting Bianca. She was playing both sides and they caught her out. So it was good to see a blind side too. They're always fun. My favourite of the episode was when Say told the Orange tribe that they needed to have a bit more tact. That's a little bit rich coming from Say. I hope I didn't put you off Australian Survivor. It just got off to a really crappy start, but it's coming good. It's coming really good, actually, but still, I still prefer the US Survivor this season. It's heaps better. We just didn't seem to get those first rocky couple of weeks that we normally get, and it just gets it off to a good start. When you do watch the Australian Survivor, I'd love to see you do just a wrap-up podcast at the end of you watching that season. That'd be great. Okie doke, that'll do for now. Happy days, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Jill. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Survivor friends. Jeremiah here with some feedback. Yes, I had to take a little break last week. I had a terrible flu, under the weather. Just didn't have the energy to send some feedback. But wow, we have had 2 fantastic back-to-back episodes. And this episode in particular, full of emotion. First, you had that powerful story of some of the players sharing some of the things that their parents went through. And then, of course, the moment everyone seems to be talking about, even people who are not Survivor fans, have been talking about this moment between Eva and Joe. A moment that caused our beloved Jeff Probst to break down in tears. Wow, I was not expecting that. I normally don't get very emotional during these things, but I have to admit, it did kind of like choke me up a little bit. It was a really great moment. And I think I might have gotten more choked up because Jeff got choked up. Mm-hmm. But as many fans have pointed out, this could put the 2 of them, though, in a really bad spot, because if I was one of the other players watching this unfold, that my first thought would be like, oh my Lord, these 2 have to go. Or at least one of them has to go. So it'll be interesting to track their progress from here. Can both of them make it far in a game? Or, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch. They're both very likable people. And if either one of them was to win, I'm sure most people would feel very satisfied with that. Now, the other moment, of course, everyone's talking about is this tribal council. Another very interesting tribal council with Cedric being in the middle of things once again. It is fascinating to think about how this affects each player from their decision. With Bianca, I think that she was obviously in a very tough spot. I do think she had her first read was probably the best one. Don't tell anybody. Hope that you can somehow survive through the vote. Granted, if it went to rocks, still could have cost her, but at least it would have been better than getting blindsided from telling the truth and it not working. But in the end, this was Cedric's decision, and the question is, did he make the right one? Now, I'm sure there was many factors for him to turn on his number 1, Justin, and you would assume that because Justin wasn't honest with them, definitely affected that particular decision. But then again, Bianca's honest with him, and he decides to turn on her. Right now, I'm leaning on towards him making a poor decision, only because I just think Say is a wild card. Granted, yeah, she's more of a higher caliber player. She's playing hard, but you never know what she's going to do. And the fact that you would think he would know that she's not fully trusts him. So I just think that was a mistake. Now, next week's episode is the Mergatory, and I will admit, I really have no idea how this is going to go. I know we like to make predictions. Maybe I'll think about it a little harder and share my thoughts on Facebook. Joanne, I will definitely be praying for your niece. And that will be it for me. You all take care until next time. This is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Awesome. Glad you're feeling better, Jeremiah. Great to hear from you.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California, and here are my thoughts on Survivor 48, Episode 5. Previously on Survivor, everybody drop your buffs. Eva does not like Star. Say is toxic. Camilla puts one over on the California girls with Kyle. And Thomas goes home. At the reward challenge, bounce the balls, roll the balls, and the winners get to load up on lots and lots of carbs. Say is continuing to not impress all the people. And the Purple Tribe pulls out a win again. They're amazing. I didn't go back and watch it again, but on the Orange Tribe, was Mitch the only one to bounce the balls into the net for his tribe?
Yes.
I think that he was. I'm telling you this, his PE teacher skills are really impressing me. I love it. At the end of the reward challenge, Mary talks too much, but Say says, hang on and let me talk even more and draw any negative attention away from you, Mary. On the Purple Tribe, I found it interesting that Eva and Star have formed a new bond. That was unexpected. Star is also forming bonds with the rest of the tribe, and everyone bands together to help her solve the Beware advantage. That was great, but I could not believe it when Star gave Eva the idol. I don't know that I would have done that. I know that they're forming bonds, and I know that Eva has overcome a lot of obstacles, especially in this last episode. But having an immunity idol is so much power. And while giving her the idol was an incredibly kind thing to do, I just think it's giving up too much power. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what effect that move has on the outcome of Star's game. And Eva's, for that matter. So the Orange Tribe ends up losing immunity and going to Tribal Council. And I can honestly say I did not see that vote coming. I really thought that they were going to vote Say out. But they didn't. They voted Bianca. And I have to say, I did not see Cedric and Chrissy voting together. Couldn't have predicted that, and I couldn't have predicted that they left Mitch out of the vote. I guess we'll have to see next episode, but I wonder if was Mitch left out of the vote, or did he cast a vote on Say just in case? I am not sure. If Cedric is turning away from his alliance with Say, I would be so happy. She very obviously was left out of the vote. But the Mitch factor is what's baffling me. I don't understand why he would be left out of the vote as well. So I'm hoping that's not the case. Anyway, that's it for me. I can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say about this last episode. I hope I'm not sounding too tired. I probably am. I'm still trying to get used to turning my feedback in at East Coast time rather than at West Coast time. So I'm recording this feedback very, very late at night, or rather very, very early in the morning. Take your pick. It's 1:12 a.m. So needless to say, I'm going to bed. Till next week.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen.
Think we finished doing the podcast around 2.
Yeah. The other night, the recap.
A little bit different for us, too.
Yes.
Back
Absolutely.
here.
We feel your pain. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here. So, wow, I have very few notes to go over here, and I'm not sure what that means. I know things happened, but maybe I was just too enthralled to write anything down, I guess? Or perhaps it could possibly be because our local news cut off the first hour of the show, and we decided not to just watch the remaining half hour. We ended up streaming the episode on Thursday, and yeah, it was a bummer, but at least there are options to watch missed shows these days. At any rate, first off, I loved how Mary got into Say's head, even from across tribe lines after that challenge. Honestly, Say is never going to get along with Mary and will always find fault in anything that she says or does, so let's just get used to that. And speaking of Say, I thought it was odd that Jeff called her out after the challenge because I thought she spoke well and even politely about her problem with Mary being an ungrateful winner, but I thought it stood out on its own without Jeff needing to draw more attention to it. Then later on in the episode, we got to see Jeff cry. It seemed to me that this entire episode seemed to be about people coming together and goodwill and kumbaya moments. Well, until the end. And I do believe that Jeff and his editors are doing everything they can to bring a more empathetic enlightenment to the game after 47 seasons. But again, I don't know how much of a favor Jeff did in pointing out Joe and Eva's closeness with each other. Luckily, there's a merge coming up next episode, but there's still going to be a very obvious duo that other players may want to split up. But thanks to Star, Eva could very well be protected with her brand new immunity idol, which certainly threw me off guard when Star told her that she could have it since she was the one who opened the cryptex. Now, that said, I do believe that Star will regret that move later on down the line. And then we lost Bianca. I said to Taz that Cedric would ultimately do the wrong thing, and I really don't know if he did or not, but I think you just can't trust him because he's all over the place. And with Say not knowing what was going on, I doubt that she'll ever even think of trusting Cedric again, no matter how much she may need him. You know, I can't explain what it is about Say, but she just rubs me the wrong way more and more with each passing episode, even when she hasn't done anything completely terrible. As for Bianca, well, I think she just tried too hard and shot herself in the foot. I realize that she wanted or even needed a certain outcome, but she worked far too hard for it. And, well, this is what happened. You just can't keep pushing. And in my mind, there was no need to even tell Cedric anything about her lost vote. So Bianca is gone, and we get a merge next week, which is happening sooner than I expected. The people that I'm going to enjoy watching are Camilla and Kyle, who are still rocking the We Don't Really Get Along alliance cover. perfectly, I might add, because they aren't overdoing it by trying to sell it too hard. I also want to see what Mitch comes up with to further his game, but now is the time when strength can hurt you, and yeah, I never suspected that I'd think of Mitch being a challenge strength when I first saw him. But, I hate to say it, but his stutter tells me that they won't take him, or Eva for that matter, to the end because of a possible sympathy vote. Now, Shahin is my USB, and I just don't know what to expect from him, or even say now that there's going to be just one tribe. It usually takes me a good 2 or 3 tribals after a merge to get any sort of a feel as to what direction things will follow. So please, someone tell me who to pick to go next, because I am clueless. Oh, but I did love the in-show milk commercial by David. The editors were certainly having fun there, and I appreciated it with a huge smile on my face. So I guess that's it for me here. Everyone take care. Enjoy. Bye.
Thanks, Paul. You said say. I would say charity.
Well, I know that say won't be seen as a bigger threat, but the annoyance factor, and just because I've been putting her over and over again. So
you're gonna get to do that because she just made it to the pass stage of the game.
Yeah, I know.
She gets to fade out to a big degree. I don't know that she'll be significant. She's gonna have to work really hard to be, and that'll draw attention that she doesn't need to make it that long. So the way that I think they're going to end up looking at it is that there's still the original Siva are all still in the game. And so that's the huge focus that'll take over, that'll be on everyone's mind. With 6 original Siva still there and an opportunity to give up one of them, and they're not going to care as much about Charity because they had already targeted her to go. So that happens a lot at the Mergatory thing. And unfortunately, like Paul said, we're probably not going to know how things are going to play out because they're going to do all these wonky mechanics where they'll split back up for 2 different tribals.
Yeah, we don't even know who we're going to be voting for.
Right. And I think the way this worked last time was that they're all in the hunt for the advantage. Last time Genevieve ended up finding it out in the water after Sam had dismissed it as not being possible as the advantage, and she went out and got it. And that gave her a bump in the next challenge so she could move on to the next stage. So there ended up being a group of them that made it through, like the 6 fastest or something like that made it through the challenge, and
they got
to compete for immunity, whereas the others didn't. And then they voted, but then they'll probably break it apart again into small groups for a vote. And
that's right. They didn't all get immunity.
Right.
Okay.
It was an opportunity. If you win the first stage, you have the opportunity to compete for individual immunity.
Okay, that's right. They did do that differently last time.
Yep. Well, so say certainly a possibility, but not. And everyone's probably targeting her to some degree because she's made herself known, obviously, at the challenges, and people are reacting to her. But it won't be as big as, hey, let's get rid of one of those original 6 Siva. And if they're offering up Charity, if that's what David's offering, the Strong Alliance, well, then we'll just pivot and go with that. Now, will Camilla be able to do something and rally the 7 they need to counter that? Will she even take that risk? It's doubtful. So we're going to see Joe, Kyle, Shahin, and David all come together in the Strong Alliance, and you got to think Eva's going to get brought into that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They just need one more strong person in the alliance. Could be Mitch, and then they get to dictate the outcome. Maybe they'll reach out to him.
Yeah, I don't know that everybody's going to buy into the
Strong Alliance.
Yeah. I mean, Charity would consider herself in that.
You think so?
She would see herself as a very strong player, I think.
I don't know. She was dragging behind the boat that David and Mary and Eva were pulling. So she
was probably pushing it.
No. I don't think they were pulling her necessarily, but she wasn't contributing to pulling the boat. So she got a clear physical demonstration of how she's not their equal in that regard.
Well, I really enjoyed all the nuances of this episode, and ultimately there are already on social media things where Joe and Eva are telling everybody, we're family now.
Mm-hmm.
They're visiting each other, Eva's going to be traveling to California to meet Joe's family and that kind. And they're both saying a part of our family, no longer just a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so they both feel that way. But
there was a lot of PR associated with this too.
Yes.
Because Joe got an extra interview, like Parker was talking about with Mike Bloom, and I think there was a Joe and Eva thing together on EW.com, and Probst wrote a little essay for Variety, and
there's a lot of good that can come out of that for both of them and for other people. A lot of good lessons. Here's the thing I noticed. Eva really needed a hero, but equally, Joe needed to be a hero.
Right.
For whatever reason, that's been the whole thing for him this season. I don't know if he needs his children to see him as a hero, or he needs to feel like a hero because he couldn't be for his sister, couldn't protect her. I don't know what that is, but you can actually, I was looking at the video where they were talking, and the joy in his face, I thought he needed this probably more than Eva did. And that's the part that I really hadn't looked at as much, is that he really needed it too.
Okay.
So anyway.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
I don't know the answer, but
Then you've always told me you shouldn't ask a question if you don't know the answer.
No, I don't say it like that.
Yes, you do.
What if this happens again to Eva, and again and again? How does that play out in the scheme of things?
It won't play out well because, again, she could be a detriment if they're still breaking out in
But they're going to
teams.
individual, yeah.
But they don't do that right away usually. They still do teams for
the challenges.
Yes, for the challenges. And let's face it, if it's interfering with the challenges, they're not going to care. People are out to, once the merge happens, they are really looking at, hey, I might could win
But this could be a different group. They've all seen the demonstration of how to help. Maybe they take turns chipping in.
Yeah, but they don't.
David could be the hero he wants to be too. Remember, he's the one who said he wanted to be a hero too. Wasn't just Joe.
Yeah, but Joe's the chosen one. She likes David, but I don't know if they would have the same bond for him to be able to do what she asked Joe to do for her.
Mm-hmm.
He has her.
I don't know. They made a
trust.
pretty big connection over jet skis.
Now, here's the thing. What if they vote Joe out? How's Eva gonna cope?
Revenge.
At that point? Will she go into revenge, or will the fear of going into something and not having anyone, or will she ask someone like David to step in if necessary?
Or big step. What if it's Charity that steps in to help and goes through it, or Star?
Or Star.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, I don't think it'll be safe. So
no, you don't get that sense, do you? Mm-mm. That's not like in her
Camilla,
wheelhouse.
Maybe, but
yeah.
But anyway, there's so many directions this can go. But
Cedric
think,
would be really good at that with his demeanor.
Maybe. But here's the thing. I definitely, I think it put that target on them. It gives them too much power to know that kind of trust exists. It's like having a husband and wife on there. It's like, oh, wait, no, we can't, they're not going to turn on each other.
Right.
That money still goes to the same household.
Is that strong enough to overcome the target that's on Charity as the member of an original 6-person alliance, and of that, alliance tribe, and who that tribe is potentially going to won't have any issue getting rid of?
Well, if David really wants Joe as kind of, in with a strong group, then
he'll offer her up,
Eva's
right?
going to offer who? Charity?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because he'll be part of the strong group with Eva and Joe.
I don't think he'd hesitate. Yes, if they agree to do that. If they don't, then why wouldn't he target one? Why wouldn't he target, say, Eva? even though he knows she's got the idol. He could make her believe that she's not in any danger. That I still think they at the very least have to break them up by getting rid of one of them. And if he wants by far Joe's the stronger one, if that's what David's looking for. But would Joe forgive him if he wasn't in on the vote?
I don't think they would care because he would be next.
Not if David was wanting to keep him around as a shield for himself.
He's got others. He's got Shahin and Kyle. Even Mitch.
They're not the same shield as Joe is.
Well, we'll see once the individual competitions kick in.
But that's not going to be for a while. They usually,
I think I'm most interested to see what Camilla and Mary,
Kyle,
and Shahin. Well, Kyle too, but Kyle's going to get included. Kyle's going to have options. He's going to still be able to choose different paths, but Camilla, Mary, and Shahin.
Camilla, Mary, and Shahin.
Are they going to try to take control at this point? Especially
Camilla, Mary, and Shahin.
They're not going to. Well, Camilla and Mary aren't going to be included in the strong ones. And then Shahin had already expressed concerns. He and Thomas were eyeing the connection between Eva and Joe. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be on super high alert now. Yeah. And he's going to see that as confirmation of the huge threat that he had already been tracking. Will he want to make a move? What will they come up with? It's going to be exciting to see how all this plays out. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, here's the other thing that could throw a kink in that whole strength thing is if old Siva get wind that they are the new targets now. Mm-hmm. And nobody cares which one of them goes. They just want them gone. They don't want them getting the numbers, having the numbers, their tribe, because then, everybody else is very nervous. So it depends on how that goes too. If they pull back together, then maybe David all of a sudden wants to keep Charity, so they've got numbers. It's a numbers game at that point.
What we've seen historically in the new era is that a tribe will be willing to throw away one of their own early on. We've seen this happen multiple times.
To show that they're not bonded, or
I guess to take some of the heat off of that perception that majority original tribe group isn't what it appears, what they might appear to be. They're not the threat, to reduce their threat level.
Well, Old Logie was certainly a powerful tribe.
Mm-hmm. But they're already down to.
Yes, they are.
So.
But, they go back to being a strong four, who knows, and bringing other people in. Say if Shahin and Joe bring back in Eva and Star and keep Kyle and Camilla with them. It's like, no, we're still Final Four, but we can bring them in, and that's going to give us more numbers.
And they'll think that, obviously, even when they approach Kyle to be part of that strong alliance, the Meat Shield alliance.
Sure.
That's why I'm interested to see what Camilla will do, because she'll see the threat. She'll know that she needs to move against it. It's just, will she be able to get enough numbers? Will she be able to make connections quick enough?
Well, I look forward to finding out how that's going to play out. And it is going to make it a more difficult decision for choosing a vote off. That's why my go-to is just Say. Mm-hmm. Because of the personality.
But I think she gets a pass.
I'm afraid of that, I will admit.
All the original Vulas get a pass now.
Say it's not so.
They won't be perceived as a threat. She's an annoyance, and certainly they'll have to focus on her at some point, but it won't be then. And of course, these are the really tough ones. These are the ones that just miss out being on the jury.
Oh, yeah.
We probably got 2 more eliminations that won't be jury before we get to first on jury.
Yeah. Well, again, another reason for Say is if Cedric were paying attention. Mm-hmm. Really? You want her on your jury.
Right.
Just in case you were to get there.
They don't ever show those kinds of discussions, but they happen.
Oh, sure.
I really don't want this person on our jury.
Mm-hmm. We don't want to have to, hear it. We don't have to deal with it. We don't want to. So, yeah, that's a consideration
To be
as
part
well.
of the legacy of this season. Because you hear about that afterwards, that there were all those talks and discussions about that. There's all that downtime, and even with just the 26 days, there's still a lot of time to talk about stuff, and they're trying to think about what the perception of them is going to be, how their season's going to rank.
I could see that New Siva would want to, I think out of New Siva that Mitch and Chrissy and Cedric maybe would be willing to stay together.
Mm-hmm.
Say, I don't know, she's going to be so mad at them that
And then you got Camilla.
I don't think they care about her.
And you got Camilla and Kyle, which are part of Old Siva.
Well, they are, but have they really bonded with New Vula?
Right.
Are they now New Vula? How committed?
I think it's going to cause Camilla to really question things when she hears that the strong alliance has formed.
Well, yeah, and especially if Kyle's gung-ho for it.
If he shares that.
If he's smart, he won't do that. But hopefully you are, because, he is still my USB. I don't know that he can win, but he still is, which means I would probably still keep him.
Yeah.
Because 24 points is
He's been playing pretty well. Pretty impressive.
Well, I'm even more impressed with Camilla, and I really do like Shahin as well.
Yeah.
But and I like Mitch, and I always have.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't go with him as USB because I felt like, because of his speech impediment, that they would consider his story to be too good for them to fight against at the final tribe. So anyone that they know of that's got, a story or that they feel could draw compassion, they're not going to want them to get there.
Right.
I mean, that's just the nature of the game, and it makes perfect sense as far as the game goes. So, but I sure do like him, and I'd be thrilled if he won too. So,
certainly be fun to keep cheering for him.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's wrap it up. We want to say a big thank you to everybody who contributed to the listener feedback show. Thank you so much for sharing all your perspectives and your experiences and how you're viewing it and who you're enjoying the show with, all that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I want to say a huge thanks to David, big contribution, and Pat for your donations. Thank you both so much. We deeply appreciate your support. It goes to those operational expenses. We don't advertise. If you're ever listening to our podcast and you hear an ad, it's not anything that we did. We don't seek that out. We have never wanted to be beholden to anyone. So those donations help out immensely. We appreciate it. And it makes it possible for new fans like Tuppence and Sammy to go back through the back catalog and
that's
20 years worth of water cooler talk, as she said.
20 years. Whoa.
Yeah.
And I want to thank all of you that sent messages regarding my niece. She is not improving and has been on a ventilator for 2 weeks now. And so they're going to have to make some decisions next week regarding the other procedures. So thank you so much. I do appreciate it. And if you're playing in JSFL, remember to make your Week 6 picks for one person voted out and 4 people who you think will still be in the game at the end of the episode.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. I struggle with that enough in a normal week.
We're excited about this next episode, even though it is the Mergatory, and that gets a little funky sometimes, how that gets spread out. And you keep wanting them to vote all together and for there to be one that's immune and then everyone else is a possibility, but it won't work out that way.
Eventually.
Yeah, it's just going to take a couple, 2 or 3 episodes before we get to that point, I think.
Unless they
historically
surprise us.
Yeah, maybe they'll surprise us. So we'll be back with a recap on Wednesday.
Have a good one.